On today's episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports, the New Orleans Saints got a gift from the Atlanta Falcons. And let the good times roll. We're going to talk about the future of this franchise. We're going to talk about the gift that the Falcons gave the Saints. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. And let's break it on down. First things first, we got to talk about letting the good times roll, baby. The Saints are expected to play a game in Paris as early as 2026. That's pretty dang cool if you ask me. So, makes a lot of sense. Saints going to France, playing football. I wonder who the opponent will be. I hope it's not a home game. It probably will be. But at the end of the day, pretty cool that the Saints are going to be having an international game. And for what it's worth, we will be live here on the channel, so I hope you join us for an AM watch party next season. Now let's talk about the great news and the gift that just fell in our laps from the Atlanta Falcons. It's rivalry week. We all hate the Falcons. We all understand that the Saints are bad. But let me just kind of put some things in perspective for you. The Saints are bad, but they're a fun bad. And yes, we are in the midst of a rebuild. Yes, we have traded away some players that we love. Yes, we have lost some games. Yes, there have been some questionable decisions being made. But there are a lot of reasons for optimism for this team moving forward. First of all, I want to talk about the coaching staff because it feels like, at least for the next few years, this coaching staff is in place. Like, personally, I don't see a lot of teams foaming at the mouth to go and hire Brandon Staley as a head coach. I personally don't see a lot of teams doing that with Doug Nussmeier as well. Kellen Moore, he's a very innovative, smart mind when it comes to offensive football, and he's a dude that is obviously a rookie. There's obviously been some bad moments. There's obviously been some head-scratching things that have happened. However, I really think that this is the right coaching staff. It's the right crew, and the nucleus of this rebuild is at least in the right position. Now, for the Atlanta Falcons, they are heading in a completely different direction. Remember, going into this season, all we heard from Falcons fans and media was, oh, it's our year. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Falcons on top. Rise up. Swag surf. That's all we heard. They're a joke, dude. They have one more win than us. They trade away their first-round pick. They have a hurt quarterback, which they're not celebrating injuries, but he's hurt again. And then you have Kirk Cousins to come and help you out, but you're paying him so much money. So we're going to talk about all of this here in a moment. This franchise, the Atlanta Falcons, they are in shambles. And guys, we're going to have this conversation because it's really, really fun to dunk on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I want to help you help me. The New Orleans Saints and Saints Now by Chat Sports. We have a really awesome fan base here. The Golden Gang is second to none. However, we're losing in our Week 12 sub-battle to Falcons today. Fun fact, both channels are hosted by a guy named Trace. And fun fact, the bosses said whoever gets the least amount of subscribers this week has to start a Bucks channel. I don't want to start a Bucks channel. Please help me out. Subscribe for daily Saints content by Saints fans for Saints fans. Now, this franchise is in shambles. Like I said, the Atlanta Falcons, their coaching staff, their management, everything about them is a total disaster. I do expect a lot of names to be fired here in the near future, not in the near future, but by the end of the season and throughout the offseason, I expect a lot of change to happen for the Atlanta Falcons. And everyone was saying, oh my God, the victory laps, let's talk about it. Raheem Morris, we're saved. Like, come on. It was no, no. He's just another Dennis Allen. Absolutely not. Oh, and not to mention, what's hilarious is death, taxes, Atlanta Falcons going to Atlanta Falcon. They right now hold the 8th overall selection. But the only problem is they don't own it. They traded it away to the Rams so they could trade back into the first round this past year and get James Pierce Jr. Not really going well for him. The QB situation. Total nightmare right now. Penix has already had 3 torn ACLs. Kirk Cousins has $100 million guaranteed on his contract. I'm not sitting here dunking on an injury. I'm not celebrating an injury. But the way that this franchise and this organization has been operating is malpractice. And it always has been malpractice. And let's take a look at the injury report because we got more gifts from the Atlanta Falcons. You see it on your screen? The Saints side of things, pretty manageable. Only 2 players did not participate. Brandon Cooks, he was released by the Saints. So really, it's only 1 player didn't participate. Now, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons side of things, they have an entire New Testament of names. So many DNPs, so many limited participants, only 1 full participant. And I'm here to tell you right now, again, not celebrating an injury, but it does benefit the Saints. The New Orleans Saints are going to be taking on the Atlanta Falcons at home. When the Falcons have lost 5 straight games, the Saints are coming off of a win against a divisional opponent where Tyler Shough had an amazing outing. They just had a bye week. They're getting healthy. They're starting to figure some things out. It seems like the identity is starting to kind of create itself in New Orleans. This team in the Atlanta Falcons, they're beat the hell up. No Michael Penix, no Drake London. Like, it benefits the Saints. It really, really does. And I think long-term, the New Orleans Saints are in a much better position. Like, also short-term. Like, I think right here, right now, if you're talking about this season, the Saints will end the year with more wins. I also think when you talk about next year, in the year after, the Saints are really headed in the right direction. Meanwhile, the Falcons are spiraling out of control to the point where they're about to have to blow it all up. Now, I want to talk more about this, and I want to go through even more gifts from the Atlanta Falcons because, boy, I feel like a kid on Christmas right now. But first things first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Tushy. Ladies and gentlemen, keep that hiney shiny with a Tushy bidet. And what do you give a sports fan who has everything but a respectable roster, a.k.a. the Atlanta Falcons? You give them a Tushy bidet to soothe their stress hemorrhoids. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. Whether you're shopping for one of your homies, your dad, your brother, a roommate, or someone who lights their farts on fire, it's the gift that refuses to pick a lane. Tushy bidets are luxurious, practical, and so easy to use. 99% of people who wash with a Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. I use my Tushy bidet every single day without fail. It's so easy to set up. You just hook it up to the existing water line, and you're ready to roll. You don't need to be a plumber. You don't need to be an electrician. And it's easy to set up, but even easier to use. You stop, drop, plop, and then you just clean that Tushy with a Tushy Wave. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And remember, a-hole is only a naughty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com. With promo code CHAT, you can click the link in the comments or description of this video. The holiday is right around the corner. It's a great gift for your friends, a loved one, a homie, a roommate, a brother, a dad, anything like that. If you are the king of your own porcelain throne, you need a Tushy bidet because it will enhance your toilet time. Click the link in the comments and description to get started today. Personal opinion here, I believe that the New Orleans Saints will reach the playoffs before the Falcons. Probably won't happen this year. Actually, I'll go ahead and say it. It will not happen this year. Next year? Maybe. Year after that? Actually, probably. I genuinely believe the Atlanta Falcons are much further away from reaching the playoffs than the New Orleans Saints. So let's just kind of go through the gifts again. I mean, it's just so fun. So you traded away your first-round pick. Thank you, Atlanta. Paid old Kirk Cousins a ridiculous amount of money, $100 million guaranteed. Remember the victory laps that Atlanta Falcons fans were taking when they saw Derek Carr's contract? And then they proceeded to give Kirk Cousins an even worse contract? They drafted Michael Penix right after they paid Kirk Cousins a ton of money. Went right over his head. And guess what? He's hurt again. That's 3 torn ACLs. I'm not sitting here saying that Michael Penix is a bad quarterback, but the best ability is availability. And when you have ACL tears in 3 of them, it's not necessarily all that great. The coaching staff might get canned, might have to clean house entirely. And look, Arthur Blank, he is the next Jerry Jones. He's just spending stupid money. He's doing stupid things. He is too good for his own ego. And honestly, you could probably say that Arthur Blank is turning into a worse Mickey Loomis, which I guess just really is Jerry Jones. And look, all of this to say, you have all of these things happen, and you did all of these things to try to make it your year and go on a run and win the division and try to make a playoff push and go win the Super Bowl and hoist your first ever Lombardi in Atlanta. All that for one more win than the New Orleans Saints. Look at the NFC South standings. One more win. And guess what? You beat the Falcons this week. That flips, and the Saints are the 3rd team in the NFC South, and the Falcons are at the bottom, where they belong. I understand that there's a lot of reasons for dunking on the Saints, but I'm here to tell you right now they are moving in the right direction long term. And fair question to ask, is there hope? I think there is. I really think that there is hope for this team moving forward. The Falcons are a disaster. Honestly, we don't even need to worry about beating them. We need to worry about going out there and executing things. Just get out of their way and let them do what they do, which is blow leads and make stupid decisions. You just beat the Panthers. You looked really good doing it. You got to play them again, but you can prove that you can beat this team. And on top of that, the Bucs have been struggling as of late. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're done. The Bucs run is over. I think they will end up winning the division simply because the rest of the division sucks. But the Buccaneers are struggling. And sure, there's a lot of injuries that have settled in, and there's a lot of things that have happened. But they're losing games. I think there's reasons for hope for the New Orleans Saints moving forward, both in the short term and in the long term. And down the stretch, I think the Saints can make a lot of noise. Like their schedule and their remaining games is so easy, ladies and gentlemen. A combined record of 25-47. The New Orleans Saints should have no problem rattling off a few wins here. I think Week 12 versus the Falcons, that's a win. Week 13 at Miami, maybe. Might be a little bit tough. They're starting to kind of find some good juju over in Miami. But I'm also not convinced that they're an amazing product. Saints could go and win that one. The Bucs might be a tough one. The Panthers, you beat them once. Why can't you do it again? The Jets, they're terrible. The Titans, they're awful. And then you finish the season on the road against Atlanta again, one more time to put BTA before you have a few months of a hiatus from football. Now, big things could be coming for the New Orleans Saints and their offense specifically. We all know that Tyler Shough is now the starting quarterback. We all know that there have been some awkward moments early in the season when he only had a couple of passes against Seattle, and then when he came in against the Buccaneers, and then you start against the Rams, and, it wasn't all amazing. But at no point was none of it just downright unwatchable. And I think with Tyler Shough, he's done a lot of really good things to develop and grow in areas where his pre-draft process, you saw a lot of weaknesses. I think that he's a player that has a lot of really good things coming. You only have 3 receivers on the depth chart right now. Well, 4 because you added Kevin Austin Jr. You have Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau as tight ends. You have Alvin Kamara, Devin Neal, Taysom Hill at your disposal for the offensive side of the football in terms of playmakers and weapons for Shough. I think some big things could be coming. I expect to see a lot of growth from Tyler Shough. I expect to see some more development. I expect to see better football each and every week. And to be totally honest, it doesn't mean that he wins every game. That doesn't mean he throws for 300 yards every game. It means that he manages the game. He manages the offense. He leads the team, and he earns the right to call himself the QB1 and the leader of this offense moving forward. Final thoughts. I really do believe that Tyler Shough, Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, they got some really good things going for him. It's far from a final product. We are not anywhere close to being good enough to go on a Super Bowl run, because that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day for everyone. But let's not lie to ourselves. This has been a tough season. It's not been a lot of fun, but things are trending upwards. And I know that we're sitting here at 2-8, and I know that me having this entire video is potentially just blind optimism. But things are trending upwards. And what have I said thousands and thousands and thousands of times on this channel? It's not about this year. May not even be about next year. But we get this ball moving. Next year, you're going to see some really nice growth. Year 3, I think that's when we really start making a lot of noise. Hopefully, in year 2, we crush this draft. We see all the rookies from this year step up and take a huge step in their sophomore offseason. I mean, shoot, man. Feels like the arrow is very up for the New Orleans Saints. Now, if you want to beat the Falcons, if you want to show the Dirty Birds who actually runs the NFC South, and you just want to dunk on arguably the worst team in football, I hate the Falcons. Nothing about that city is good. Nothing about that team really makes me happy. Nothing about their fan base gets me jazzed. I can't stand the frickin' Falcons. And if you hate the Falcons as well, type "who dat" in the comment section, and let's get a big old "who dat" chant rolling. Ready, ladies and gentlemen? Who dat? Who dat? Who dat saying gonna beat them Saints? Not the fucking Falcons. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's video. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. The New Orleans Saints got multiple gifts from the Atlanta Falcons before Rivalry Week. This has been Saints Now by Chat Sports. Y'all stay golden. We'll have more content coming at you throughout the week.